I'm Kyle Bachus. On April 28th of 2020, my mom was killed as a result of someone else's negligence. It's completely changed my life and the way I practice law. If you too have felt the pain of losing a loved one and you don't know where to turn, let me be your guide on what to do next when the unthinkable happens. In the aftermath of a death of a loved one or a very serious injury to a loved one, there's so much that the family faces, right? First of all, how do we just make it through as a family? How do we not allow this to destroy our family unit? And these are really difficult and can be devastating times for a family. So the first thing I would say is that you have to go into survival mode in a way, right? When my mom was killed, I remember just working each day to survive as a family unit. And, there's immense grief, whether somebody is injured or whether somebody is killed, immense grief that accompanies that. And it's completely normal. Everybody's hurting. Everybody's struggling. Some do a better job of expressing it. Some don't express it at all, but the suffering is there. It's always there in the aftermath of something like this. And so to me, I was kind of given a lifeline of a book. It's called It's Okay, You're Not Okay by Megan Devine. That's just one book. And that was the start of my kind of survival through this, is to be able to use this book. And I would read it when I was up at night, unable to sleep. That experience with reading that book, taking a step forward to try to know, like, this isn't going to get better. I'm not fixing the fact that my mom is dead. I've got to try to survive through it. And so that then got me involved in some grief counseling, which was extremely beneficial. It's you just coming to terms with the reality. And following the death of my mom, right? Something would happen to, let's say, to a kid at school, a good thing, maybe they get a grade. My first instinct is, I'm going to call my mom and tell her. I can't call my mom and tell her. And adjusting to that reality. And at some point, really wanting to find a way to not make this all for nothing. And you see it time and again with families. You see whether it's somebody killed in a mass shooting and their parent is out, advocating on their behalf. It doesn't have to be that anything. I promise you, if you think in your mind about what drives people to advocating, in many cases, it's a personal experience, a discrimination, right? An event in their life, something that happened, the loss of a child, something that happened that causes them to want to advocate or help. Why are they doing that? And why might you start doing that at some point? For some people, that's not the way, right? But why does that happen? That happens because people don't want what happened to their loved one to have no broader value, right? You could say, well, my mom is killed and that's it. Or I could say my mom is killed and what would my mom want me to do now? What can I do as a legacy to the memory of my mom? What things did she like? What was she interested in? What was important to her? How can I move forward in legacy to her? How can I, it may be very, very simple things. It's individualized, but at some point as you move through the grieving process, finding little ways to remember, celebrate, and have legacy. I remember after my mom was killed, I didn't want to see a picture of my mom because it was too hard to see us, right, as a family. Now I'm almost 3 years after my mom's been killed, and I've got the last photo that we took as a family together on my desk, and I look at it every day, right? It's still as devastating, but I'm learning to live with it. And here's something that I know from my own experience, from living through what you're going through or something similar. You and your family, you will rise through this grief. You will do it. I promise you.